Peace. Welcome to Sports with Flavor. I'm your host, Divisional. Make sure you share, follow, comment. Sports with Flavor on YouTube, Instagram, tell a friend, whatever. Be safe. All right, so let's get into these NFL playoffs, the divisional games yesterday. Yesterday we had two games. We had the Rams at Green Bay, and we had Baltimore at Buffalo. So let's first talk about the Rams at Green Bay. The Rams, the number one defense, Green Bay, the number one offense. Just wasn't a healthy Aaron Donald, so it was hard for the Rams to put pressure on the discount double check Aaron Rodgers. So Green Bay came away with what I call an easy win, and they'll be hosting for the first time the NFC Championship game next week against the winner of Tampa Bay or the Saints. In the second game, it was Baltimore and Buffalo, two young quarterbacks who can throw and run with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. The Bills did a lot of defensive schemes. Lamar couldn't really get it going. At one point, Baltimore was down 10-3, was going in to score. The play before, they missed a touchdown pass. The next play, interception by Lamar Jackson, 101-yard touchdown return. That changed the whole game. So going from, it could have been tied up at 10-10, it quickly jumped to 17-3. And that was it for Baltimore. Lamar ended up getting hurt. The backup came in. Huntley did very well. Almost got him a score, but Bills walked away with what I call an easy win also. And they will host. It depends on if Kansas City wins, they'll go to Kansas City. If Cleveland wins, Cleveland will come to Buffalo. Another breaking news, James Harden played his first game with the Nets, got a triple-double. No Kyrie Irving, so it was only two big stars. So we'll see what happens if Kyrie ever comes back. You know, what's going to happen with that team. But I'll be right back, and we'll talk about the divisional games coming up Sunday. Peace. Welcome back, Sports with Flavor. Let's talk about these Sunday games, divisional games. The first game in the morning is going to be Cleveland at Kansas City. Now, we saw Cleveland knock off Pittsburgh last week, with a convincing win. They kind of, to me, they seemed like they dominated the game. And Kansas City had a bye last week. So you give Andy Reid time to prepare for a team, he's pretty much going to win. He's a very good coach. And Cleveland will be going into Kansas City, young players, against a veteran, Super Bowl champion, MVP, top players in the league, and Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill. All right, so before we start, these two quarterbacks have never played in the playoffs in the NFL. But they did play before back in college. In 2016, when Patrick Mahomes was with the Texas Tech Red Raiders and Baker Mayfield was with the Oklahoma Sooners on his way to his Heisman Trophy, they played at Oklahoma. Now this was a big game because it was a shootout. Now nobody really knew about Patrick Mahomes, but everybody knew about Baker Mayfield. But in that game, Patrick Mahomes, I believe, threw for 739 yards. I mean, that was a college record. He was like 55 for 88, something like that. 52 for 88. Baker Mayfield threw for, I think, about 400 yards. But Oklahoma ended up getting the win, 66-59. Now, that was a high-scoring game. Now, Baker Mayfield beat Patrick Mahomes. But to Patrick Mahomes' defense, only 4 players from that Texas Red Raiders team went to the pros, while Oklahoma had 9 players. So it was just like Oklahoma probably had this more talent. I remember they had Joe Mixon. They just had talented players at every position. So, it made Baker Mayfield's job easier. But moving forward to today's game, we know Patrick Mahomes is the Super Bowl MVP. He's a champion, and he has multiple weapons. Travis Kelce, I think, who's number 2 in the league in yards as a tight end. Tyreek Hill. They might be without rookie running back Carlos Lahere, but they still have Le'Veon Bell and Williams to back it up. So let's talk about Cleveland and some of their stats. Baker Mayfield threw for 3,563 yards. He threw for 26 touchdowns, which was 8th most in the league, and 8 interceptions. Once again, he's in his 3rd year coming out of Oklahoma. Nick Chubb, running back, rushed for over 1,000 yards, which was 7th in the league, and 12 touchdowns, which was 4th in the league. This is his 3rd year coming out of Georgia. They also have a good veteran running back in Kareem Hunt, who used to play for Kansas City, so he might want a little get back. And he rushed for 841 yards and 6 touchdowns this season. This is his 4th year out of Toledo. They had Odell Beckham, but he's hurt, so they still have wide receiver Jarvis Landry, who had like 72 receptions for 840 yards. Is in his 7th season out of LSU. But in my opinion, the Cleveland Browns are going to have to do it with their defense. They need to run the ball to try to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. And Myles Garrett, one of their top defenders, all-pro, 4th year out of Texas A&M, needs to apply pressure and do something to disrupt the game. They also got middle linebacker B.J. Goodson, had 91 tackles in his 5th year out of Clemson. Baker Mayfield is a very, let's say, not a super mobile quarterback, but he moves around. He's not going to just stay in the pocket and throw the ball. He has 8 receivers that he's thrown 2 touchdowns or more to. That's a lot. And Cleveland's defense has 8 defenders that have 1 interception or more. So if they can get an interception or a turnover from Kansas City and keep the ball on the ground to keep the ball out of Kansas City's hands, they have a good chance of winning. Now, Cleveland is 3rd in the league in rushing, 148 yards a game, so they need to try to just pound the ball and see if they can eat up time of possession. Now, let's talk about Kansas City and their offense. Top-rate offense. We know they have the number 1 offense in the league at 415 yards a game. They got the number 1 passing offense at 313 yards a game. Patrick Mahomes, of course, all-pro. Travis Kelce, of course, all-pro. And Tyreek Hill, all-pro. So they got all pros that he can throw the ball to. He can run the ball. So let's get some stats on Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes threw for 4,740 yards, which is 2nd in the league. He also threw for 38 touchdowns, which is 4th in the league, with 6 interceptions. So once again, Patrick Mahomes, out of his 4th year out of Texas Tech. Let's see, Travis Kelce, he was 2nd in receiving yards at 1,460. He was 6th in touchdowns at 11, and this is his 8th season out of Cincinnati. Once again, the speedy Tyreek Hill had 1,276 yards, which was 8th in the league in yards, 87 receptions, and 15 touchdowns, which was 2nd in the league. This is his 4th year out of West Alabama. Now, once again, they have Le'Veon Bell. If Edwards-Helaire cannot play, and they got Williams. So they got 2 good running backs to back them up. Now, the defensive side for Kansas City, people don't talk about because they have so much offense, but they have some fantastic players back there. They got free safety Daniel Sorensen, 91 tackles, 3 interceptions, his 7th year out of BYU. They have Anthony Hitchens, linebacker, 78 tackles, his 7th year out of Iowa. And of course, they have all-pro strong safety Matthew with 62 tackles and 6 interceptions, which is 3rd in the league in interception. This is his 7th year out of LSU. And they also have a rookie cornerback in LaJarvis Sneed, who out of Louisiana Tech, who can cover. So it's not like Baker Mayfield is just going to have receivers to throw to. Once again, games always come down to some games. I don't think this game will because of the high scoring. It's not going to come down to kickers. Cleveland has a good kicker in Cody Parker. This is his 6th season out of Auburn, And Kansas City has a great kicker in Harrison Butler, fourth year out of Georgia Tech. So Mahomes, with all the Patrick Price discounts from State Farm, he's busy. Baker Mayfield and the Browns need to keep Mahomes and Kelsey and Hill off the field, run the ball, and stay out of third and long. And Mahomes, we know, leads the league in third down conversions where he rushes for a first down. So my pick for this game is not the Browns. But Super Bowl MVP champion Kansas City Chiefs will win this game by, I say, 10 points or more. We'll be right back and we'll talk about the next game.
3-2.
All right, now let's talk about the second game of the day. This is probably the most anticipated game because you got Tom Brady, who's over 40, versus Drew Brees, who's over 40. Tom Brady, of course, we know, has 6 Super Bowl rings, and Drew Brees has 1. Everybody's calling Tom Brady the GOAT, which he is one of the GOATs. He's one of the best players to ever play the game. The Saints have already beaten him twice this year. I don't recall Tom Brady ever losing the game to one team 3 times in the season. So let's get into this game. Tampa Bay and the Saints. Tampa Bay comes in a number 5 seed, 11-5. New Orleans comes in the number 2 seed at 12-4. Tampa Bay beat Washington team last week, and New Orleans, they had a convincing win. So let's talk about some stats. Let's talk about Tampa Bay first. Tom Brady was third in the league in passing at 4,600 yards. Okay, he was second in touchdowns with 20, with only 12 interceptions. And once again, this is his 21st year out of Michigan. Remember, he was a 199th pick. They got a duo running back with Ronell Jones, who rushed for almost 1,000 yards, 978, 7 touchdowns, his third year out of UFC. And they picked up Leonard Fournette, who won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady in New England, who rushed for 367 yards with 6 TDs. This is his 4th year out of LSU. I don't know if Mike Evans is going to play his 7th year out of Texas A&M, but they got Chris Goodwin, 846 yards receiving, 65 receptions, 7 touchdowns, his 4th year out of Penn State. Of course, Tom Brady went and picked up Gronk. So now they got Gronk at tight end. He only had 45 receptions and 623 yards this season and 7 TDs, but he will come through in the playoffs. This is his 10th season out of Arizona. They also picked up Antonio Brown, who's in his 10th season out of Central Michigan, who only had 483 yards, 45 receptions, and 4 TDs. But we know these are big-time players when you got Gronk and Brown on the receiving end. And there are other receivers out there because Tom Brady does spread the ball around. But with the dual running backs with Jones and Fournette, I think he'll set up that play action. He'll hit Gronk over the middle. Brown can stretch the field. So we'll see what he can do with that. Now, the thing about Tampa Bay is I think they have a very good defense. They have multiple players that can make big plays. Now, they have linebacker Devin White, who I believe led the league in tackles at 140 tackles with 9 sacks. This is only his 2nd year out of LSU. So if he can apply some more pressure to Drew Brees, pick up Kamara, stop some of the short gains, Tampa Bay's defense can make it tough on the Saints. They also have linebacker Levante David, who used to lead the team in tackles until White came, but David had 117 tackles. This is his ninth season out of Nebraska. He's very versatile, so he'll be able to help also with Kamara and applying some pressure and calling audibles for the defense. They also have strong safety, Winfield Jr., 91 tackles, and he's only a rookie out of Minnesota. So he might have to double over the top of Thomas or pick up some other receivers, but this rookie has shown he can really play the game. They got all-pro outside linebacker Jason Pierre-Paul, 55 tackles, 9.5 sacks, and this is his 11th year out of South Florida. And his counterpart, Barnett, 57 tackles, 8 sacks, 7th season out of Colorado State. And we know they got Sue, the big DN, 43 tackles, 6 sacks, his 11th year out of Nebraska, who used to be one of the most dominant defensive players in the league. But with all the defense they have, Tampa Bay has a really good chance if they can shut down the Saints a little bit and give Tom Brady the ball. Now, Tampa Bay is 4th in the league in passing with 298 yards a game. They're 3rd in the league in points with 30 points a game. They're number 1 in rushing defense, giving up only 80 yards a game. And they're 7th overall on offense. Okay? So now let's get to the Saints. Got my throwback Reggie Bush, Heisman Trophy winner from USC. So, talk about the Saints. Drew Brees missed a couple of games, but still threw for 2,942 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. This is his 20th season out of Purdue. He's 42. Now, of course, they got all-pro running back Alvin Kamara, who's not only a great rusher, rushed for over 900 yards with 16 TDs, which is 3rd in the league, but he also caught 83 passes for 756 yards and 5 TDs. That's a lot of receptions for a running back. Now, this is his 4th year out of Tennessee. Of course, they get big play Michael Thomas, a receiver back. He only caught 40 receptions this year, but he's a big playmaker. His 5th season out of Ohio State. They have wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders, 726 yards, 61 receptions, 5 TDs, his 11th year out of SMU. They got tight end Jared Cook, 504 yards, 37 receptions, 7 TDs, in his 12th season out of South Carolina. But they also have a pretty good defense. They got linebacker Demario Davis, who had over 100 tackles, 119 tackles, 4 sacks. He had a birthday January 11th. This is 9th season coming out of Arkansas State. They got Malcolm Jenkins back there, strong safety. Plays like a linebacker, 91 tackles, 3 interceptions. His 12th year out of Ohio State. They got all-pro defensive end Cameron Jordan, 51 tackles, 7.5 sacks. His 10th season out of Cal. Defensive tackle David, 44 tackles, 6.5 sacks. His 5th season out of Canada. And of course, they got kicker Will Lutz, 23 for 28, 82%, 5th year out of Georgia State. The Saints are 4th overall in defense, giving up only 300 yards a game. 4th overall in rushing defense, giving up only 93 yards rushing per game. They 5th overall in points scored per game, and they're 6th in rushing offense at 141 yards per game. Now, once again, the Saints won 2 games this year versus the Bucs. One in week 1. That was back on September 13th. The Saints won 34-23. They played again in week 9. The Saints won again. Routed them 38-3. But they always say 3 times is charm, but 3 times is deadly when you're going against Brady. So we'll see what they can do going against Brady. Brees always gets the ball out of his hands quick, so it's hard to put pressure on him. He has a good running back in Kamara. He got Latavius Murray. He got Michael Thomas. He got tight end Cook. So he gets the ball out of his hands quickly. And with a good running game, that's going to help Michael Thomas in the deep threat. So the Saints look like they have a great opportunity to win this game at home. But it's hard to go against Tom Brady and the Bucs. I had to get my throwback Warren Sapp because he was one of my favorite players. So I'm picking the Bucs to win by 3. I'll see y'all again next time. Make sure you share, comment, post. Sports with Flavor. I'm your host, Dia. You guys be safe out there, and we'll get Martin Luther King. Have a happy birthday weekend, and we'll see you guys again soon. Peace.